Somebody I really admire but maybe don't agree with on everything, Ann Applebaum, wrote an article in The Atlantic a few days ago. There's a term for what Trump and Musk are doing, how regime change happens in America. Now, I found it interesting because I agree with her that this is regime change, but I believe she's saying the quiet part out loud now. The deep state, the administrative state, whatever you want to call it, is the state to many people in this country. It is what we just discovered it. It's not the elected government by the people, it's the bureaucracy. That is who so many people in this country revere as the ultimate power brokers. It's why they're out on the streets protesting circumcision in millions of dollars for circumcision in places in Africa. What are we doing? Because it's much deeper than this. This is the same ideology that progressives have adhered to for over 100 years. Woodrow Wilson, FDR, they hated the fact that the Constitution stood in their way, so they grew and empowered the bureaucracy, the administrators, to go around it. This is how NGOs can take your money and operate with the same authority as the CIA, but not have to deal with these pesky little things like oversight. And it has gotten to a point to where the money that is being spread around is grotesque, and the things that they're spreading it around to do in your name is also grotesque. They can work with leftists like Soros in Macedonia to seek regime change. That happened. Then copy that again in Albania, again with Soros. That happened. Then turn around and fund sterilization projects in South America, circumcisions, like I said, in Africa. But how does this happen? Well, there is a new tool. In fact, several of them out. One that we're talking about now is Data Republican. They're giving us an inside look at some things that we've never had before. And concentrating on USAID is simply not enough. The deep state is much, much bigger and deeper than them. And the Uniparty has been building this system for a very long time. I want to refer to you back to a couple of articles you need to read. I highlighted these in a show last year after the Palestinian activists started tearing up college campuses all over the country. The entire operation looked just like the color revolutions that we know Soros was involved in and the deep state was involved in other countries. And I said at the time, I think we're funding our own revolution. Go back and watch that show. This Washington Post article talks about how organizations funded by our government, like the National Endowment for Democracy, were operating like quasi-CIA. Now, this is a story that we found written in the early 90s. The other is this article from The Guardian in the early 2000s after the Ukrainian Orange Revolution, found by one of our great researchers. Both articles, along with the funding information that we already knew, helped paint the picture of how the deep state runs a parallel foreign policy. We explained this in an earlier show. It's all done in our names through NGOs with our tax dollars. And I made a similar chalkboard last year trying to explain, but I was missing this piece. You can follow the money for a distance. You get Congress to allocate a whole bunch blindly, usually through these organizations, an insane allotment to government agencies. Let's just take two of them, the USAID and Department of State. Those are trusted government institutions, right? State Department, USAID. Most people have never heard of USAID unless you watch this program. Massive amounts of dollars every single year. Let me show you a graph, the USAID money that was doled out to foreign recipients in 2023 alone. $4.17 billion. Now, here's where the trail gets harder to follow, and I'm absolutely positive by design. The money is then moved from state and USAID to other trusted organizations like the National Endowment for Democracy. Now, one of these secondary agencies that are really you don't know, somehow or another, the money gets from here down to places like Soros, Open Society, any progressive street activists, media outlets, Hillary's civil society 2.0. We knew that dollars were coming in from the government, but we didn't know how. We also knew between these people, and these people, regime change, the Arab Spring, or color revolutions were always the end of it. Well, now we know how your tax dollars spread a globalist progressive agenda, regardless on who's president. But knowing just this isn't enough. We have to fill in this blank. So who do you audit? The CIA? The State Department? USAID? Well, yes. But if you stop there, the deep state lives on. We have to go deeper. So let's start with a smear against Christopher Rufo. This is extraordinarily important because some people are going to be smeared. His organization is very, very clear. He gets zero tax dollars, and the only reason why it pops up on charts on this software is due to the splatter of money that is shot out all over the place. The further to the left you go on the money trail, several organizations begin to stand out. So he's on this chart. American Studio is his, but he gets zero tax dollars. But he happens to get money from Fidelity and Schwab and Bessemer. Now, are they getting tax dollars? No, which means that maybe somebody at World Vision and Notre Dame has made a donation here, and it went here, but not tax dollars. Okay. The names that keep popping up, the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening, CEPS, where is that? Right here. Okay. They get $165 million of your tax money. Have you ever heard of them? How about East West Management Institute? Because they're getting $25 million every year. The National Endowment for Democracy and their affiliates like NDI. Right here, 167, 362 million. Then you have Freedom House, which is right here, another $93 million. And oddly enough, we notice that the Tides Foundation, our old friends, show up on the chart, clearly showing the Tides Foundation is receiving U.S. tax dollars. Now, back in the old days at Fox, I showed you the entire purpose of Tides is to be a progressive left-wing dark money machine. It's money laundering, legal, but money laundering nonetheless. You cannot trace money. Once it goes in, it goes dark. You can see what's coming out, but you don't know who's giving it. Leftist billionaires, organizations, they all donate to Tide specifically so their money can go dark. So why is the Tides Foundation getting tax dollars? Well, maybe this is a one-off. Let's do a money trail search on Tides and see what pops up. Are they involved in anything else? The Tide Center. Oh, holy cow. Now, this is, again, we're going to find deeper levels here soon. But this is showing the entire money trail for Tides. On the chalkboard, again, I have a few notable ones. Oh, Freedom House, NED, CEPS, East West, Intranews. Wow, they show up again. So they're spreading tax dollars to each other, and then they spit out to places like Soros. Now, let me go to something local, something here in the United States. A couple of weeks ago, I told you about one of the largest NGOs that is involved with migrants coming into our country. It's Global Refuge. It's a cute little NGO that received $221 million of your money. Let's look at their flow chart. Their budget included $221 million of your money. Take a guess who shows up on the chart. Oh my gosh. Internews, CEPS, East West, NED, Tides Foundation. CEPS labels themselves as an organization that supports electoral processes and civil society. what's happening here? This is about the border. Annually, they handle about $500 million of your tax money, and it mostly comes from USAID. The Internews Network helps USAID meddle with independent media and press all over the globe. If you ever wonder why media all over the Western world says exactly the same things, it's because it's government approved and paid for. According to USAID, quote, in 2023, the agency funded training and support for 6,200 journalists, assisted 707 non-state news outlets, and supported 279 media sector civil society organizations. Wow, that doesn't sound like it's in our best interest. What are they promoting? In Ukraine, USAID was the main funder for 9 out of 10 Ukrainian outlets that receive international funding. Wow. The circulatory system of the entire deep state is now materializing. Auditing USAID is not enough. We cannot stop here. We now have some other players. We have SEPs that we know is involved. We have East-West that we know is the next layer. We have the Tides Foundation. That one just pisses me off beyond belief. We have NED, which is up there as well, NDI as well, and Freedom House. So we know that these guys get the money. Government agencies goes here, then it goes to this level. And I think we're going to find another level. This is money laundering. The reason why you have money pass through so many hands is to enrich and launder. That's it.